What is going on, everybody? Welcome into another live stream here on the channel. It has been a while since we've done one of these. I believe the last one we've done was back in March around the SEC tournament. So it's been almost 3 months. A lot has happened. I'm glad that you guys are here. If you're watching this on replay later, welcome in. I hope you guys enjoy the conversation. I say this all the time, but these are one of the perks of having a YouTube channel. I really enjoy these. I feel like a lot of conversation comes out of them. The channel's grown a lot since we've done one of these last. It's been 3 months. I don't know exactly where we were back then, probably 200 less subscribers, maybe a little more than that. So thank you guys for the channel growing. We are close to 1,000. We're around 870 right now. So if we can get that to 1,000 before football season, that would be great. It would make me really happy. I hope you guys enjoy what we're doing here on the channel. I know it's not as consistent in the summer as what, in season is. But we're still here. We're still trying to grow. So I appreciate you guys. I appreciate everybody watching this. So welcome in. It has, like I said, been a minute. I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited. If you're not already, go ahead and subscribe. Like I said, we're coming up on 1,000 subscribers. So that's great. That's always been a big goal of mine since I started the channel. So if you guys enjoy it, if this is your first time in, make sure you subscribe, and then we can hop right into some conversations, guys. The most recent thing on everybody's mind as far as actual sports go is, of course, baseball season. Kentucky had a roller coaster of a baseball season, lost a bad game early, kind of got really hot, got really highly ranked. Got deep into SEC play, let a couple slip, kind of fought to host a regional. Ultimately, they do. Ends up being one of the best experiences for UK baseball in years. They set 2 records at KPP for attendance. I was at 2 of the games. It was really fun. That's obviously why the last live stream got delayed, because I went to the game. I hope you guys saw that short or on TikTok. If you guys haven't seen that, go check it out. Just a few little clips of the game. It was pretty fun. They did obviously win the regional over West Virginia, Ball State, and Indiana amongst all the dorm controversy. So it was a good showing for the Cats. First time they've made a super since 2017. Nick Mingione probably saves his job, which if you listen to Mingione talk, it's hard not to like the guy. He's just so likable. I mean, whether you like him as a coach or not, that's besides the point, honestly. But Nick Mingione, great guy. I'm really glad he kept his job. I think that he has the tools to be good. He basically played with an entire new roster this year, had very few returning players, had to hit the portal hard, got guys like Hunter Gillum and some of them. Obviously, they lose the first game in the regional, or their first loss was to Indiana. Come back, they beat West Virginia, turn around and beat Indiana again that night to force a tiebreaker. And then, of course, go on to beat Indiana in the championship game in Lexington. After, it's always good to get one up on Indiana. I don't care what you're playing. If you're playing chess, I hope we beat Indiana. If you're playing football, basketball, baseball, softball, underwater basket weaving, it's fun to beat a team like Indiana, especially a fan base that is that annoying. So good win for the Cats. They moved on. They went to Baton Rouge in the Super Regional where they had to play LSU. LSU, I don't know how came in as a 5 seed, but they did. Kentucky get paired with them, and the rest is kind of history. They have the best pitcher in the country, the best hitter in the country, and obviously really good role players. At no point in that series did I think anybody honestly expected Kentucky to win. They didn't. Of course, they lost 2-0. Had a couple chances, though. In the 7th inning of the second game, they had guys on second and third. They were in the middle of their lineup, so like 3, 4, 5 or something like that, with a chance to really score. They fly out for their second out, and then they, obviously don't score in that inning, leave 2 on in scoring position. Tough way to go out, but for what Kentucky baseball was and is, you can't be upset with a trip to the Supers. If he can replicate that year after year, I think maybe they'll get to Omaha one day. Not the biggest baseball person, fan, coach in the world. I know enough to get me by, but I'm not a baseball mind. I couldn't tell you what to do in certain positions. I always say, swing the bat and hope for the best. But I know there was some questionable decisions throughout the regional and super regional by Mingione. The most notable to me of what I know of baseball was deciding to throw to the best hitter in the country. You had first base open, could have easily walked him. You'd walked him 3 or 4 times previously. If you guys know more than I do, please put it in the comments because, like I said, baseball, out of the major sports, I might know the least about as far as, an X's and O's standpoint. To me, it seemed like an easy walk call. Load the bases, hope you strike out the next guy and try to get out of the inning. Instead, they throw to the best hitter in the country, and he does what he does, hits a double, scores 2 runs. From then, it seemed like Kentucky was just always trying to claw their way back into the game. Obviously, I think they lost 8-3, so they did score 3 runs. A lot of that, or actually every bit of that, was single home runs or solo home runs. If any of those come with a couple people on base, it's an entire different game, but that's just how it shakes out. Overall, on the year, I think they had a really, really good year. I think you really can't be upset with them, especially, like I said, with Mingione going into the season on the hot seat and losing every single player that he had. It's hard to be upset when he pieces a team together, has a pretty successful year. I think they went in as the 12 seed overall. So you're a top 15 team. You go in, you host a regional, you win your regional, and then you advance to the supers against what is probably the odds-on favorite and best team in the country in LSU. They have that pitcher, Skeen, who is just, he was throwing 102 late into the game. You don't see that in college. You couple that with I forgot his name, Dylan Cruz, I think, the best hitter in the country. Then you got those big old fat boys that just hit the ball all over the place. And they hit a couple over the scoreboard. Hard to beat a team like that, especially when you're Kentucky and not a traditional power. So, I'm happy for Coach Mingione. Probably saves his job, and we gear up for next year. I know we're going to lose a couple guys, but I think most of our core players will be back, especially the pitching staff, which is always good to return. They looked promising. I can't remember his name, maybe Moore, the pitcher we threw second in the last game. He was really on fire, kind of carried us through the regional. So hopefully we get him back, get a couple pitchers back, add a couple big hitters, and maybe we don't draw LSU next year in the supers and we have a chance to get to Omaha. So unless you guys put something in the comments, I'm going to move away from baseball now. Like I said, it was really fun going to the games. It was good to set, 2 capacity records at KPP this year. That's a good sign. So with that being said, like I said, if you guys have more baseball comments or knowledge, put it in the comments section. If not, we're moving on to some basketball news. And there's a lot here. So this is probably where we'll spend the majority of our time. And then we'll finish up with some football talk and kind of just let the conversation take us wherever. You guys put in the comments your thoughts on all of this, what you guys want to talk about. You guys know how these things go. I have a plan, but we kind of get all over the place, talk about not anything in the world, not sports related. So. Oh, and first one of the night, cheers to you guys if you made it the first 10 minutes. It's pretty good. That's the first time I've had this bourbon. It's Monk's Road by Log Still. Never had it. Pretty good. If you're a bourbon person, I would try it out. It's about actually I got it kind of expensive, about $100 bottle. But if you never had it, try it out. It's pretty good. Now, like I said, on to some basketball stuff. Okay, so we are now June 15th. Season's been over for 3 months, and we still kind of don't have a roster. It's not looking good. We did just add Jordan Burks, who we'll talk about here in just a second. But we shouldn't be 3 months out of the season. Cal's only spoke once, not to Kentucky media. I know a lot of people are KSR fans. He doesn't talk to them. So, if you're not going to talk to KSR, fine. But hold a press conference on your own terms. Talk to the Courier, talk to the Herald, talk to literally anybody. Just don't stay solely on national radio where a lot of UK fans only hear clips. If you're trying to address Kentucky fans, you should address them directly through their outlets that they receive information. And Dan Patrick is not that. So That would be my only advice to Cal besides let's get on the ball and add some people. Like I said, we've added Jordan Burks. We've had a couple visits. Santo Surreal, Joey Hart might still be on campus. I know, there's the Reeves situation that's up in the air. And then we have Global Jam, and literally, I think it starts a month from today. So we're 4 weeks out from representing Team US in Canada against what is going to be a lot better competition than what we saw in the Bahamas last year and what we usually see on these kind of summer trips. These are going to be legit teams. I believe Baylor did this a couple years ago and lost pretty bad. Maybe the year after they won the title, they were still a good team that next year, and they got beat up. So, we're coming in all freshmen. So it's going to be interesting. Let's see. We got our first comment, the Great Kentuckian. So from what we can see, Reeves is gone, and we may only play 7 players, which is usually the amount of players Cal plays anyway, this global slam games. Yeah, keep in mind that Ugo is probably not available for those games. I don't know if you're counting him or not. And yeah, Cal likes to keep a 7-8 man rotation, sure. But he's never done it with all freshmen. I know we started 5 freshmen. We've always had solid depth on the team and veterans, though. Right now, we have none. You have Adu Thiero and Ugo, who, if you watch my recent videos, have combined for an average of 8 minutes a game, something like 1.8 points, and, that's about it. So while, yeah, they know their way around the locker room, they might not know their way around the court. I know a lot of people are super high on Ugo and Adu. I'm not sold just yet, if we're being 100% honest. I just think that there's a lot to lack there. They haven't shown me anything that makes me believe that they can compete at the highest level in college basketball, which is what Kentucky is. I like their, potential. I like in theory or on paper what they can do. I'm not, like I said, I'm just not sold on their on-court ability. If you guys are, let me know. We can debate it here. But I've seen flashes of Adu play well, but never in a big game. I know Ugo blocks shots, but that's against, like, Duquesne. So I'm not sold just yet that they're legitimately ready to play. Obviously, you have the 5 freshmen coming in plus, I guess, 6 freshmen now if you count Jordan Burks, the overtime elite player, who we'll get to in just a second. The other big news in the basketball world is that we have a new non-collective collective, a collective, if you will. It's called the La Familia Club. So an interview surfaced that Cal did back, I don't know, probably a couple months ago. And basically where he came out and said that under no circumstances will he allow a collective or donors to run his team. And I think that's been the biggest reason you haven't seen a collective or promises an NIL pop up with Cal. He wants to be in full control. And I understand that. If I was the coach of Kentucky men's basketball, I think I would want the same. But it does seem like the tide has at least shifted a little bit. Cal realized that, we missed out on Dickinson and the kid from San Diego State, Kashad Johnson, probably Grant Nelson, and a lot of the Kaluma just committed to Kansas State. So Cal's realized he has missed out on a ton of players. So I think his mindset has changed. It is called the La Familia Club. Apparently this is being funded. Actually, let's just go ahead and jump into that. It's obviously being funded, number one, by some donors. Again, KSR has talked about the strife between some major donors. Obviously, the Crafts, they wasn't named by name, but I think we're all smart enough to know who those are. The Crafts mainly. I feel like that relationship has been strained between Cal and them. So they're giving most of their attention to football now. And then, apparently Cal didn't have that many donors to start with, just a couple big ones. So now that, he needs money and that relationship is kind of severed, where does he turn? He started the new La Familia Club. Apparently, reports are they got started back in January. I find that hard to believe considering we're in June and we're just now finding out about it and promises are just now being made. So take from that what you will, I guess. But Cal, it does seem like he's turned a corner. You got to give credit where credit's due when people change their mindset on things that they were steadfast in. So I do give Cal credit there. it seems like the primary donors, at least according to KSR and some other people, are that it's not typical UK donors. It's a lot of Cal friends, people kind of outside the program, outside of Lexington, donating money. So not a bad thing. We'll take the money whichever way it comes. I'm not going to complain about that. But it does seem like it's outside. Also, reports from Jack Pilgrim said that they, I think, roughly had 10 former UK players donate money. So that's great. It's good that all of these draft picks aren't just a pitch anymore. They're actually able to give back in ways that directly affect the program. I know these guys have came back and donated their time at camps. They probably donated money to the school or the program, but never directly to, what NIL is going toward, which is the players. So that's always I love that those players can now give back and directly influence the program in a way that's tangible. So that's obviously a really good step forward for the program. You have to be excited about that. And then also reports are that apparently the La Familia Club has raised double what any other major programs collective has raised year to date. Now, if that's true, who knows? Like, you guys, every report ever that has came out has said that these numbers are all made up and inflated. So who really knows what anybody has made or what any collective has collected? But those reports are at least promising from people who should know. So if they really have raised double than Duke and Kansas and North Carolina and UCLA and those guys in what seems to be a short amount of time, that is a great step going forward. I think that is going to play a huge factor. Maybe not this year because it's kind of late in the game to get transfer guys. Obviously, that's why we lost Hunter Dickinson and some of them. But I do think it plays well going forward. The only concern is that, the La Familia Club is a Cal thing. It's not an established collective like the 15 Club or Commonwealth Causes or these other things that football has going. So whenever Cal decides to step away, does that collective and that model go with him? Do those donors go with him since they're not directly, it's not the Crafts this time apparently donating to this. So does all of that go away? I would assume of those 10 players, at least 9 or more are Cal players that have donated back. So does all of that go away when Cal goes away and we're back to ground zero? I don't know. I hope not, but with these things and money and friendships or non-friendships, you just never know. You never know how that goes. Like I said, I hope it doesn't go away. I hope the La Familia Club can be something that Cal can stamp his name on when he leaves. Say, I started that, I made those connections, and now it's flourishing. Kentucky is doing better than, Duke and Kansas, and we're doubling up their numbers and go back to, to being swaggy Cal and, picking and choosing the players he wants kind of at will. But with that, Cal has picked and choosed at least one of his players, and that player is Jordan Burks, commits to Kentucky. He was on campus last weekend. I believe committed silently, obviously before the statement came out on Monday that he had committed. He committed silently, probably on his visit, moved in that weekend, if not already previously committed. 6'9" forward, a position that we are severely lacking. Depending on which ranking service you look at, I believe it's On3 and ESPN have him as a 4-star, maybe 24/7, and Rivals have him as a 3-star. So just kind of depending on where you look and how you feel about the kid, 3 to 4-star recruit. I'm going to say 4-star because why not? Who cares? It's all made up anyway. Comes out of Overtime Elite. Same, Rob Dillingham came out of there. He did lead Overtime Elite in scoring at 27.1 points per game, which is great. You can never have too much scoring in modern basketball, despite what Cal says. So you're telling me I get a guy as a likely bench or role player that's played, substantially high-level basketball and led that league in scoring. I'll take it. I know he has some issues in his game. A lot of people claim he's underrated. A lot of people take that 3-star rating and think he should be at least a 4-star, if not maybe a low 5. But a lot of people think he's underrated. Like I said, he does have concerns in his game. I don't think he's the most consistent or conventional. The same with a lot of these guys that come out of the overtime elite camp. You don't really ever know how they're going to fit into a system. I do think with him, the grades and stuff, they're all legit at UK, so there's no concerns there like there was with Rob for a little bit. But just fitting into a system, not being that 27-point-a-game guy, he's not going to average that here. He'll probably be lucky to average 10 here with the way Cal plays and there being so many good players and scorers on this team. But nonetheless, if you're telling me I get him as a 6th or 7th man, I'm all here for it, assuming, he fits in well. Again, a KSR reference because I listen to that a lot. Cal has said in the past that, you can have one knucklehead on the team, but you can't have two. If Dillingham has those same concerns that we've talked about before, those same kind of knucklehead, take all shots, be the guy type of person, and you have two of them, there's only one basketball. Something's got to give along with the 4 other 5-star recruits that we got. So that's really the only concern with him, I think, is attitude and fit. Is he willing to take that lesser role and be content with it at a place like Kentucky where he's going to be on the biggest stage, making the most money, but will he be okay not being the guy? Because odds are that the big 3 this year is probably going to be DJ, Aaron, and Justin. So everyone else is probably going to have to take a backseat to them. But, if he's willing to come in and accept that role and be that guy, and you're telling me I get that type of scoring ability and maybe 2-3 years to kind of mold him into a good, star player here, I'm all for it. I'm happy with this pickup. At this point, any pickup is a good pickup because we're I guess 8-9 men in now on a 12-13 man roster. Obviously not all of those guys play, but we're getting late, getting closer to the season, and then we still have a full roster. The first guy that is not committed yet that we're looking at is Joey Hart, 6'4" guard out of Indiana. He is a true 3-star. Some places have him unranked, so probably a lower 3-star at that. Dude's known as a shooter. Don't know a ton about this kid other than he shot the lights out of the ball in high school. Obviously, another bench player. Hopefully not a starter. If he's starting, we probably have bigger issues. Probably hope to be a lot what Kellen Grady was. I don't remember, honestly. It's been 2 years. I don't remember if Kellen Grady started or not, but I think he came off the bench. If he came off the bench, I think this is the kind of role they want him to go to. With Jordan Burks, I believe they want him to be more of an Antonio Reeves type of player where he can score off the dribble, not just a 3-and-D type of guy. In my opinion, Joey Hart, if we can get him, and all signs point that we will, that he will be more of that 3-and-D. Like I said, I don't know a ton about his game. I don't know if he's a 3-level scorer or not, but I think their hope for him is mainly come off the bench, provide a spark, and hit some shots for him, specifically 3-pointers, obviously, but they'll take anything. So, again, not a huge scouting report on him, but all signs are promising that he will be a cat sooner rather than later. And then, we go from there. That puts us with a solid, 5, 6, 7 people plus the 2, Adu and them. So we're at nine people on the roster right now. So far, all freshmen, 2 sophomores. Not ideal, probably, but we live and we move on. With that, we'll pause. Everybody take a drink. Cheers to you guys. Again, let me know in the comments, guys. We've only had 1 comment so far, so throw your thoughts and opinions on all of this in the comments section. I love to talk about it. If you missed the beginning, I have an itinerary of what I want to talk about, what we are going to talk about. But I let the comments kind of lead the discussion. If you guys want to talk bourbon and whatever else, I don't care. We'll talk about whatever you guys want. It doesn't have to be strictly Kentucky sports because that can get boring. It can be, would you rather fight 10 horse-sized ducks or 1 duck-sized horse? Or no, I got that backwards. 10 duck-sized horses or 1 horse-sized duck. That's what it is. So if you guys want to talk about that, we can. Personally, give me the 10 small ducks, or 10 small horses. See, this is hard. Anyway, moving on, we can talk about Sompto Cyril, was just in Lexington a couple days ago. Dude's massive. I mean, that is really all you can say about the dude. He's huge, ginormous, super long arms. People compare him to Shaq. Obviously, that's an extremely high bar to set, but just in his size and the way he plays does remind you of Shaq or Oscar if Oscar was long. Just super powerful, kind of. The highlights I've seen of him is just him ripping the rim off of it. He's a 4-star recruit, so that's good. You know, if you count Jordan Burks as a 4-star also, we're good with it. That's, 5 stars, 2 4 stars, and then whatever Adu and Ugo were. The great Kentuckian says 10 small horses kicking those things wouldn't be hard. No, but they could kick you too. You ever been kicked by a horse? I haven't, but it doesn't look fun. If you want to take the one horse-sized duck, go for it, I guess. It probably would be less lethal, but I like my chances against the 10 horses, or duck-sized horses. But back to Sompto. I believe he's from Nigeria. I know it's not the Congo, but somewhere. Came over, I believe, in 2021 to start playing basketball. 7-footer. Again, an overtime elite guy. He just graduated this past May. So I think his initial plan was to play a full year of overtime elite, bypass college, go straight to the league, hopefully. Outside of that, I think ever since Kentucky has made a hard push, I think he has become very warm on the idea of being a cat. I do think he's going to wait maybe just a little bit longer to make his decision, and that's not a bad thing. I feel confident he will be here. The only problem is he probably won't be available for Global Jam either. So it'll be him and Ugo out of Global Jam most likely, and then hopefully we pick up the rest of the guys. So that basically forces Aaron Bradshaw to play the 5. So that's what we've all been wanting. Cal and Bradshaw himself seem absolutely determined to do everything in their power to play the 4 and not the 5. I kind of hope with Ugo and Sompto probably not being able to play in Canada, I really hope that forces Cal's hand to play Bradshaw at the 5 and experiment with that and maybe open both of their eyes as to how successful that can be, because I do think that is the best way for this team to play. If you tell me that we have Ugo, Cyril, and Bradshaw, and we're starting Bradshaw at the 5, let's roll. I'll roll with what we got now. To hell with everybody else. Let's do it. I just don't know that Cal will. I don't think he will come the start of the season. I just don't think it's something he's willing to do. CJ Conrad going to EKU, which means we'll see him on September 9th in the blue-white and not in the blue-white. That is correct. If you guys aren't aware, I went to EKU. I live in Richmond still, so I'll be seeing a lot of CJ Conrad down here. But yeah, that's a great job for him. I believe he was on UK's staff this past year, helping Vince out. But for him to get a legitimate, probably it is his first big time coaching spot. It's a Division I school. Obviously, it's a FCS school, not an FBS. But either way, I think that's great for CJ. I think everybody spoke really highly of him around the program, helping Vince out last year. And so I would assume he comes in as a tight ends coach here at EKU. I haven't looked that far into it. But great pickup for Walt Wells and company. We will see EKU, obviously, on, like he said, September the 9th. So that's all good. I'm glad for CJ. Good pickup for EKU. I think he brings a lot. I think EKU will be good this year. If you watched my way too early predictions video a couple weeks ago, maybe about a month ago now, I said that, we always have one of these gimme games that end up way closer than it should. I believe last year might have been Youngstown State, if I remember correctly, that hung around too long. Year before that, Chattanooga almost beat Levis in his third game. So I think EKU can be that with it being an in-state rival. We're only, 20, 25 minutes apart. I love that game. I wish we'd play it more often. I know we play Murray State the year after, which we'll also talk about here in a little bit. But really excited. That's good for CJ, good for EKU, and I'm excited for that game. Of course, I will be there. And then, like I said, went to EKU, probably still be wearing UK stuff. I have season tickets to UK, so that'd be fun. Let's see, Bert. Go Wildcat Cave. Can't be on long. I'm at a baseball game. Don't forget to share this channel and post it. Thank you, Brett. Yes, Brett, you are at the Counterclocks game, which is where I would have been there, Brett, if I didn't have this scheduled. And, Haley had a bunch of stuff she has to do because she's going back home tomorrow. So unfortunately, we couldn't make it to this one. Hopefully, we get to another one with you soon. But yes, please do like, share. We're probably about the halfway point here. So this is a good time as any to say cheers to you guys. Like, share, keep posting in the comments. I love it. Let's keep growing the channel. Again, we are close to 1,000 subscribers. Like I said at the beginning, if you missed it, always been a huge goal of mine to get to 1,000. We're about 130 people away. So if you're one of the people watching this now or later on watching the replay of it, please, 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 if you're not already, hit the subscribe button. Share the channel with your friends if you enjoyed, if you think they'll enjoy it. Every single thing. Make 15 different YouTube accounts. Use all of them to subscribe. I don't care how we get there. But like I said, that's been a long time goal for mine. Go back and watch my early videos and I reference it. So please like, share, subscribe, comment, all of that good stuff. And it's good to be back doing another live stream with you guys. Brett, also tell Adeline I said hi, and hopefully we'll see her soon. All right, so now the topic that everybody, it's been such a roller coaster, and it's been circulating forever. Antonio Reeves, man. I don't know. You guys tell me what you think in the comments. It's hard to say, honestly. It's, it's up and it's down, and he's back and he's gone, and he's back and he's gone, and he's at Illinois State doing credits. Then he's guaranteed to come back. I don't know. That friggin' loser, Jeff Goodman, he probably got somebody fired today at Illinois State, saying that the registrar told him that, he's enrolled there taking summer classes. So if you look at the headline here, it says he was nearing a return because yesterday when I typed that out, getting ready, he was nearing a return. Everybody thought, and it was almost planned for him to return on Tuesday. And then he's went radio silent ever since. I thought with the announcement of this non-collective collective that he would be, that would be such a huge driving factor because that was one of his two main concerns was NIL and his role. And, with the collective, that kind of checks one of those boxes. He would be getting his money, and Kentucky would be able to market him a lot better. Apparently, he don't quite see it that way. I think he's looking for a reason to leave. Jack Pilgrim, again, came out and said this week, Kentucky's stance is kind of turned now to where if he's not came back, he's looking for a reason to leave, which isn't promising, but probably the truth. There are some stipulations, though. We'll talk about his concerns first. Number one, like I said, is NIL. With the new La Familia Club, like I said, I think that checks that box. That should no longer be a concern for him. His next one would be his role. What is he going to be on this team? He doesn't want to be lost in the shuffle of all these five-star freshmen. Reports have came that he doesn't want to compete with freshmen or 18-year-olds for playing time. He's 20, probably 21, 22, 23 years old, something like that. He doesn't want to compete with these 18-year-olds to get lost in the shuffle and be a bench player. You've heard me say here before that Cal gets in his head what a guy is, whether it's good or bad, and there's no changing that. There's no getting them out of that role in his mind, even when Antonio goes for 37 in Arkansas. So, if he knows that, then I can understand his role concerns because Cal is known to play freshmen over guys who they probably deserve more time. So I do understand that. And if you're Cal, you've got to come around. Antonio was your second leading scorer, if not your best player. He was definitely your best scorer, especially late in the year. Yes, I know he went like 0 for 14 in against Kansas State and he didn't shoot us out of the game, but definitely didn't win us the game. So I understand, that he did that, but he was still one of your best players, if not your best player late in the season. So to me, if you're Cal, you have to guarantee that he's starting, because he's going to be fighting for time over basically Rob Dillingham. And with, like I said, Rob Dillingham kind of has a reputation to being a knucklehead. So if you're Cal, I don't know how you don't promise that to him. If you can guarantee him role, and I'm not saying you have to guarantee him 35 minutes a game or that he's going to get 15 shots a game. Just say, man, you rode with us last year. You produced. We're going to start you until we can't anymore, if that time comes. And I think he'd be understanding of that. Couple that with the La Familia Club, who now has supposedly raised twice what anyone else has. I think money's there. I think he just needs a role. But I think at this point, like I said, I think there were some behind-the-scenes issues. We've talked about that ad nauseum at this point because it's true. There were a ton of behind-the-scenes issues last year, and I think a lot of that kind of is part of the reason Reeves is leaving or wants to leave at the very least. So I think, I don't know what Cal's told him as far as role, but the money is there. The money's there. I'm assuming Cal's smart enough to see that the role is there. So now it's on Reeves. At this point, I'm kind of, I want him back. I want to get him back. I think you guys want to get him back. But at the end of the day, can't wait forever on a guy. If he doesn't want to be here, let him go. I don't think Cal's holding him hostage like that. I don't know, whatever that podcast was that said that a few days ago. That's not the case. Cal's never been one to do that to a player. If anything, he's helped them pack and helped them find a new place to go. Cal's always been extremely loyal to his players, whether they want to stay or leave. So, I definitely don't think that's the case. But I do, I think it's on Antonio at this point. Does he want to be here? I think probably not. But there are circumstances that, may force him to stay. He has not graduated. He does not have the credits to graduate, and therefore cannot be a graduate transfer. He missed the deadline for the portal because he was exploring his NBA options. All fine and good. But then now he's too late to enter the transfer portal unless he's a grad transfer, which he is not, which leads to him taking classes at Illinois State to try to become eligible. Like I said, at the beginning of this week, if we had this podcast Monday, I would have sat here and told you Reeves is coming back. Expect an announcement soon. And here we are Thursday, and it's looking like he's probably not. So who knows? I think Cal's probably still pretty confident he comes back. Just from what I've read online at a couple different places, Cal's probably 65% confident we get Reeves back. But, at the end of the day, if the kid don't want to be here and he has the option to go somewhere else, which he may not, then, whatever. Like I said, I hope we get Reeves back. I'm sure you guys hope we get Reeves back. But at the end of the day, give me a dude who's dying to be here and wanting to accept their role and produce, and I think we're all happy. Let's see. We got another comment. The Great Kentuckian. Yes, sir. You're blowing it up tonight. Everybody join him in on the conversation. Do you keep up with Lance Dahl and Locked on Kentucky? Lance does have some good takes overall, but I think he defends Cal a little too much. Do I keep up with it? No, I don't. Do I watch some of his stuff? Yeah, absolutely. I think he does a great job. Love to, maybe do one of these jointly with him one day, and we stream it on both channels, and it's great. I think he offers a lot of good, takes. He's probably a little more fit and X's and O type of guy. I'm more of your fan perspective. So I do know his podcast. I try to watch it, and this is going to sound ridiculous, but the main reason I don't watch his stuff a lot is because if I'm watching a podcast, I want to watch the podcast, and I don't listen to his podcast, just audio. I watch it on YouTube. So a lot of the times his screen is just the Locked on Kentucky logo, and that drives me absolutely insane. If I'm watching that logo, I want to be able to see him. So when he does have the ones where his face is in it and stuff, I do try to watch those. Like I said, I think he offers a lot of good insight. I think he does a really good job over there. That's a great channel. If you guys are already subscribed here, go subscribe there as well. If you're not subscribed here, do that first and then go do it over on Locked on Kentucky on YouTube. Like I said, I like Lance. Don't know him personally, but love to link up with him one day. He is a Cal defender. I will give you that. I don't think I'm not a Cal defender, if that makes sense. I like Cal. I'll defend him as our coach. I'm not one of the people that think he should get fired by any stretch of the imagination for multiple reasons. Number one, he's not going to. He has the lifetime contract with a bajillion-dollar buyout, so he's not going to get fired no matter how much I kick and scream and get mad at him. And number two, he's still a Hall of Fame coach. He's still likely the best coach in college basketball right now. It's probably him or Bill Self. Self does have 2 titles now, so I guess you give the nod to him. But, that 8-year stretch we went on with Cal, or really 9-10-year stretch, is unmatched by any coach, maybe other than Rupp or Wooden. So, I still want Cal to be the coach. I'm a little bit more of a Cal hater than Lance is, but definitely not a hater by some standards. Want Cal to be here. Love Cal. I just want the old Cal back. I've said that before. I want Cal to be swaggy Cal. I want Cal to get Kentucky back to where it was, play maybe a more modern style of basketball. But, all is cured with winning. I don't care if Cal puts 5 centers on the court and just has a dunk contest all game. If we're winning, I don't care, but I do still want Cal. I like Lance. I don't like it when people lean too far either way or see that there's not nuance in situations. I see both sides of it. You see, the get Cal the bleep out of here. You see that a lot on Facebook. You see that a lot on even Twitter. You see that a lot in my comment section by what I would only assume to be some of the older crowd. And then there's the younger crowd who, even younger than myself at 27, who are just rock it with Cal to the day I die. I fall somewhere in the middle. I think it's completely acceptable to say Cal has been and probably is one of the best coaches ever to coach college basketball. I don't know off the top of my head where he lists in all-time rankings. I would imagine easily top 20, if not top 10, probably right there around the bottom half of the top 10, maybe top 15. But to me, I think it's completely acceptable to say Cal has yet to let us down substantially. He's had the best run this school's seen since Rupp. He's won a championship, gets the best guys, has built Kentucky up to a platform that it hasn't seen before. So all of that can be true while also acknowledging that, the last 3 years haven't been good. Last year was our most successful season, and we lost, I think, 11 games. The year before that, we lost a few fewer, but, of course, St. Peter. And then the year before that was the 9-16 year. So I think there is nuance to these situations. You don't get that online much, but it's the truth. It's completely acceptable to say Cal needs to change and that he has also been a great coach. So that's my stance on Cal. I don't, by any stretch of the imagination, want him to leave. I think when it's at its best, there is not a single person better for Kentucky than John Calipari. But we just have to see if he can get it back to its best. So overall, for the Kentucky basketball roster, assuming we get Sompto and Joey Hart, I still think we need a center. I think Sompto helps fill that. If Cal was willing to play Bradshaw there, that helps. Ugo is still there. But we still have no deep experience at center, or none truly productive. I don't know what's in the portal right now, but, I would think that if we add Joey Hart, we've already added Jordan Burks, we get Sompto, and Reeves comes back, I think we're one piece short, and that piece is an experienced college center. If we can do that, then I say let's rock and roll. Let's see what happens. We'll be young, but it'll be an old Cal team. We'll be able to score. We'll be fun. We'll be athletic. We'll be long. We'll be able to get to the rim. We'll be able to shoot. So, at that point, put your trust in Cal and let's rock with it. I'm here. Let's go. Now, if we don't get Reeves back or we don't get Surreal, then my concerns go right back up. I feel good we get Surreal. Like I said, I don't know how we feel about Reeves right now, but let's play the scenarios out. I'm going to assume we get Somto in both of these. So assuming we have Somto and Joey Hart, scenario one is we don't get Reeves. I think at that point, you're forced to go to the portal and get a grad transfer that can shoot and get a big grad transfer, a center. Then you get both of those. Whatever skill level you can afford to get, go get them. Let's see what happens. I feel, we'll see how it happens. Could be great. Could be whatever. And then option number two is we get Reeves back, and then we still just need a center. We go out, we get that, and I'm ready to rock and roll. Or there's a scenario where you rock with what we got, which is basically no Reeves, no transfer center, and we're playing Somto probably starting. Ugo coming off the bench, no real depth there. You do have Burks, who's 6'9", not really center size, though, more of a small to power forward. And then I'm concerned. If we don't get Reeves, we don't get Somto, or we do get Somto and we don't get another transfer, then I don't know where we go. Panic level right now, 1 to 10. Okay, let's think this through. I did this in a video not long ago. I said then I think I was a 6, maybe a 7. Since then, we've gotten Jordan Burks. Good. I like him. We're likely to get Somto Surreal. Good. I like him. Likely to get Joey Hart. Fine piece. Not going to move the needle for me, but a good piece to have for depth. My panic level, I would say, if it was at a 6, has went down. I'm at a somewhere between a 4 and a 5 because I still am more confident than not that Reeves comes back. So put me at a 4.8. So not nearly, freaking out and panicking. Not 100% comfortable. Guarantee me that Reeves comes back. And I'm probably dropping that down to a 2 and just hoping we get another center. If we get Reeves and another center plus the guys we talk about, my panic level's down to a 1. It all just comes down to how do these guys pan out and what can we do? So I'm here for that. Let's go. If we can get those guys, I'm not panicked at all. Like I said, I still trust Cal. I still think he can piece this team together. I still think he can coach this team. So you give me all of that, my panic's a 0. You give me none of that, I probably jump up to an 8. So we're in limbo right now. But for this current moment, with how I think things pan out, 4.8. Let me know your all's panic level in the comments. Hello, Joseph, the horror guy. Good to see you again. Glad you could make this one. I know you missed a couple of the live streams, so I'm glad you could be here. I, too, cannot wait for the new Kentucky basketball season. Also, let me know who you all think will be the most impactful player on next year's basketball team. A lot of signs point towards Justin Edwards as your most consistent, maybe number 1 overall type draft pick player. Behind him is obviously probably DJ, if not the other way around. After that is probably Aaron for me. And then you have the wild card in Rob Dillingham. That's a dude who, if you watch him play, just an absolute spark plug coming off, hopefully the bench if Reeves comes back, but if not, starting. That's a dude that, much like, I feel like his comparison to Kentucky is going to be Malik Monk if Malik came off the bench. A dude that's going to be super streaky for us, but when he's on, man, you feel bad if we're playing a good team. Like if Dillingham decides to go off against like Gonzaga next year, if we draw Duke in the ACC thing, I hate to be one of those teams. We're going to probably get do we play Kansas in the Champions Classic? Either way, Dillingham goes off against any one of those teams, it's a bad night to be a Blue Devil or a Bulldog or a Jayhawk or whoever. It's going to be a bad night to be those guys. Joseph, you wish Oscar would come back, man. Me too. I love Oscar to death. I think it makes the most sense for him to leave. He had a historic career here. He'll be in the rafters one day. So what can you say? Of course, we all wanted Oscar back. If he was back, talk about my panic level, none. But alas, here we are. So You shake Oscar's hand, say, we really appreciate you and good luck in the NBA. Reed Sheppard is a sleeper starter by midseason. Really? Really? It's a bold take. I like it. I like bold takes. There was a report maybe by, is his name Trevor Ferris, something like that. He actually came out with a report, I believe it was today, that Reed is the surprise guy of the summer so far, that his abilities are exceeding expectations in these early practices. We've heard this with guys before. The one I can remember the most is Bryce Hopkins. A lot of talk about him, and then he kind of flamed out, had his moments, but nothing spectacular. Isaiah Jackson was the same way. He did pan out a little better. Too bad he was on a 9-16 team. But, you hear about these guys every year. If it's Reed this year, that's great, especially with him being a Kentucky, kid, being from the state. I believe we're going to hear a lot of that because of that anyway. We're going to hear a lot of good things about Reed, whether it's true or not, just because he's a good rallying point for a fan base that's down right now. Everybody loves an in-state kid. But if these reports are what they say they are, then I just don't know who Reed starts over. He's not really a point guard, so I think DJ kind of has that position locked up. He could play point if he needs to, I guess, but DJ's starting there. Your 2 is probably, hopefully, Antonio Reeves. If not Reeves, then Dillingham, probably. I don't know that Reed is better than Dillingham, if we're being 100% honest. I don't know. I just think I find it hard. I'm not saying Reed won't start a game. I just don't think he becomes a consistent starter this year. But, if all these reports are as advertised, then it's possible. Not out of the question. Great Kentucky and most impactful is between Edwards and Bradshaw. I think Bradshaw slowly turned into a defensive force by February. I think so too. I think that's an underrated part of his game, is his defense. He's super long, super athletic, and he can just beat shots at the rim. Again, with him playing the 4, who knows how many looks he'll get at the rim to do that. But I think you'll see him get a lot of defensive big-time plays with whoever in the world plays our center. Him coming on the help side from the back, I think he'll get a lot of blocks. I think he's just bigger than most 4s, which is a good matchup. And one more thing on Bradshaw. Now, obviously, I've said I want him to play the 5, and I do. But if you tell me that he's a legitimate 3-point shot, threat, then I'm okay with him playing the 4. Everybody claims that he is. Everybody claims he can shoot threes a lot, but I think he made 8 his entire high school career. So, I could do that. You take enough, you be the number 1 player on your team. You take enough, you'll make a couple. So, take that for what you will. But if it's true and he is a consistent 3-point shooting threat, please give me him at the 4, Edwards at the 3, Reeves at the 2, and DJ at the 1. Throw, Somto at 5. I'm in. Give me that lineup. Add a piece or 2 off the bench. And those promises, I say let's roll, see how far we can get. Because as Cal says, I will take talent over experience. But yeah, I do think Bradshaw will be actually, oddly enough, I think this can be a good defensive team. I think Reed could be a good defense. If Reed wants legit playing time, in my opinion, be the best defender on the team. I think DJ's a dog. I think he'll get up in people's face. Good guards that we play, I think he'll get in their face and make them work. Justin Edwards, I don't know a ton about his defense, but we'll assume it's fine. Reeves got a lot better defense last year if he comes. Dillingham's athletic enough to defend anybody if he decides he wants to. And then, like I said, Somto is just he's an Oscar type, is just big, strong, man amongst boys. So I think this could be a good defensive team. Now, I've said that the past 2 years, and we've been okay at best. We'll figure it out. It's hard to predict, especially a team full of freshmen. So here we are, 55 minutes in. These things normally go about an hour. We're clearly going a little longer tonight. And we've still yet to talk football. So, last chance. If you guys have any basketball comments, throw them in the comments right now, and then we can move on. So I will give you guys a minute. I'll kind of explain my overall overarching view of the basketball while I give you all a second if you guys want to talk about basketball. Overall, again, not panicked, fairly confident that Cal pieces it together. I trust in Cal. I think Cal can take – there's no better coach in the country with talent than John Calipari. That's just the God's honest truth. He can do more with talent than anybody else could. Everybody has the arguments of, well, he should have had more titles, blah, blah, whatever. It's easy to say. It's easy to say when those teams don't have that talent. But overall, like I said, not panicked, fairly confident. If the roster pans out how I think it will, we probably lose a bit in Canada, to be honest. But I think come the regular season, I think we do pretty well. I could see us. It's hard to say. If everybody hits their peak, which freshmen not all do, but assuming all the freshmen hit their peaks, we're a legit contender next year. With the pieces we kind of feel good about now. If what kind of average happens, some of them do, some of them don't. We're probably lose a few out of conference games, maybe 2, 3, something like that. And then we probably go something like, let's see, there's, I think, 18 conference games. We probably go something like 13-5 in conference, end up 23-8, 22-9, something similar to last year. Hopefully make a bigger run in the SEC tournament, and then just kind of, maybe go into the NCAA tournament as a 3-4 seed. If that happens, let's roll the dice, see what happens. Now, if everything pans out well, Cal proves he is Cal, he is him, then I think, we have a chance at a 1 seed. It's been a long time since college basketball seen a class like this, probably since 2015, if not before. So I think there's all the opportunity in the world for this team to be great. I don't want to sound just negative and down because we don't have a full roster yet. I think that this team, given the right circumstances and pieces, can be a championship team. We just have to wait and see. Let's see. The only real thing I want my shooters to do is create their own shot and step back. That could help us out a lot since players have a habit of pump fakes. Yeah, it's become a common thing in college basketball the past couple years, absolutely. I love dudes who can play off the dribble. Dillingham can. I think Jordan Burks can. DJ obviously can, and Justin Edwards can. Even Bradshaw, I think, to an extent can. So I think this is going to be much more of your old school Cal team. Dribble drive, penetrate, kick out until they just lose you. We're going to have enough athletes on this team we drive into the lane. If it's not there, we kick and we just rotate, and people keep coming and we keep kicking and we keep coming until we keep kicking until the defense breaks down. We get an open three or we get a layup or we get fouled. So I think we're going to have an old school Cal team. If Cal's model still works like it did 10 years ago, we'll find out this year. If it doesn't work, we'll also find out this year. This is a perfect team for Calipari. Young, athletic, top 10 guys, and let's see what happens. Now, we come on this channel a year from now. Maybe we get bounced in the second round, Sweet 16. Maybe it's a different conversation. Maybe I'm not as trustworthy in Cal after 5 years of not making a Sweet 16. Actually, last Sweet 16 we made, I guess, was Auburn 2019 in the Elite Eight. Is that right? Yeah. Because then the next year COVID happened, I think. Yeah, next year COVID happened. That team would have been really good. I know we overlooked that. Nick Richards and them would have been great, but that team gets overlooked, unfortunately. And then, but I mean, still, if it's 2024 and we're having these conversations, we have to take a serious look at what we're going to do with John Calipari and how we're going to remember him. You're at a 7. 7. Is that, I'm assuming your panic level is a 7. It's a little high. Put in the comments why you think it's a 7, because that does seems high to me. I know we're young. I know we don't have a full roster, and I know it's June, but I just think that's a little high. I think we have good pieces. Cal's proven he can win with freshmen, so I'm not saying you're crazy. If you told me a 10, I'd say you're crazy. But I think a 7 is at least on the high end of a reasonable panic. But I'm a little lower than that. Do you think the team will be set by the time we play in Canada? Mostly. Mostly, probably. Like I said, I think Hart will commit before then. I think we'll know one way or another with Reeves before then. We might even know on Surreal before then. I just don't think it'll be enough time to for him to go. So I don't think it'll be 100% set. I think we'll still probably add one piece after. But I think we'll know the majority of the team. And I think that'll be a good test for us, So, I mean, I know sometimes we get in these summer things and we look like world beaters, or sometimes teams get in here like Baylor and they suck. And they end up being pretty good. So it's hard to read these things, but at the very least, we'll see these guys play together and we'll have an idea of their talent level. So no, I don't think the full team will be set, but I think we'll have an idea. If Cal doesn't make the tourney, he's insta-fired, right? No. I mean, there's already a majority of the fan base, maybe not majority, but there's this large section of our fan base that would say he's already should have been insta-fired. I'm not in that group, but there is a large group that thinks that. Now you're telling me we don't make the tournament at all. I don't think he's insta-fired. I don't think there's a world where he's insta-fired within the next probably 4 to 5 years, only because of that contract and that buyout. But if he doesn't make the tournament, man, these videos are going to become a lot less fun to make. A lot less fun to make. I bet you they get clicks, though. If I'm not at 1,000 subscribers then, if we don't make the tournament next year, I will be. And I'll be there in a hurry, because when we did bad this year, my subscriber count flew up the charts. So, might be great for the channel, but it won't be great for Cal. Like I said, I definitely probably not insta-fired, probably not fired at all, because who's got, $48 million or whatever it is to buy him out next year. But, man, it's going to be a tough job. If Cal goes, oh, my God. You know what? We're moving on. I'm not talking about that, because number one, we're going to have a good team. At the end of the day, these are first world problems. I had to explain this to an Indiana fan the other day. We're having first world problems here. We still have the number one class in the country and 5 of the top 20 recruits. And we still have Ugo, who was a 5-star, Adu, who was a 3-star, Somto, and then the leading scorer of overtime. We have talent. We have scoring. We have a team. We don't know how it's going to play out. We're at Kentucky. These are Kentucky standards, not college basketball standards. There's teams out there. There's teams in the SEC that would kill to have what we have right now and get to complain. So overall, I'm not, crazy. I know where we're at right now, but that's just what it is. Christopher's prediction should be right, but it most likely won't happen. Exactly. Yeah. So exactly what I just said. Yeah. Cal's not insta-fired. Probably not fired at all. But, there's at that point, I think right now there's probably 30% of our fan base that thinks he should be fired. We don't make the tournament next year, that number probably jumps to 70 or more. And maybe me. Like I said earlier, when we were talking about Locked on Kentucky, I don't think Cal should be fired. I think it would take a lot for Cal to be fired. But missing the tournament after we missed it in 21, and then went, in 21 we went 9-16, and then we lost to St. Peter's, then we lost to Kansas State in the 32, and then we miss it again. Man, you might get me then. We miss the tournament, you might get me. And I'm a Cal defender. Letting you know that Lance just made a video about Reeves and the news around him, but I'll watch it after the live and comment later. I didn't know that. If he did just make a video about that, I haven't seen it. Maybe he has more insight. I'm on a couple different message boards, and I listen to KSR and I read the room. I listen to some other stuff, around UK. So, if that's true, if I watch his video as well, and then definitely comment. Let me know what you think. And I'll watch it and I'll respond to you. You guys know I'm good about responding to comments at least once. I used to get in, 15 message threads with people arguing. Now you probably get a comment out of me, maybe two, unless it's something important or good. But yeah, I'll watch that Lance video as well and see what he has to say. I would venture to say he says that Reeves leaves. Just guessing, but who knows? All right. With that being said, we'll head into our last topic, which is some Kentucky football. We are, let's see, roughly, I don't know, Lord, 75-ish days out, 75-ish, 80 days to kickoff. So under 100, we're about 3 months, a little less than 3 months out till we take on Ball State, I believe. Ball State is our first game. We obviously have Devin Leary, Ray Davis, Dane Key, Barryon Brown. It's slipping me now. What's our linebacker's name? J.J. Weaver. Probably going to be the anchor. Alex Safari. We got the corners from Cincinnati. We got the dudes from Ohio State. Stoops has killed the transfer portal. We got offensive linemen this year that are good. We have an Alabama transfer, USC transfer. We have Marquise Cox, the lineman from Northern Illinois. So we should be geared up for what is going to be a tough season. Our schedule this year is not easy. I think I say this every year, but I think it's a fine line between great and bad. It's a fine line between 5-7, 6-6, and then 9-3, 10-2. That's just the nature of it when you're a team like Kentucky who, we're on the come up, but nothing's given to us. We have to fight for every win we have because we're not overly talented yet. We're getting better. We're getting more and more 4 stars every year, maybe a 5-star here and there. But, we're not Alabama. We're not Georgia. There's one other team that we're really not, but we compete with, and I'm not going to say their name because I'm not giving that fan base that satisfaction. But I'm not even Florida, who we beat the brakes off of recently. We're not even Florida. So I think, what have we won against Florida? 3-5, 4-5, something like that in the past couple of years. So we're not even there in terms of talent and recruiting, but we're competing with those teams. And just being that sort of team, having that nature about us right now, nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is given to us. So, is what it is. Nothing's going to be given. It's going to be a tough year. But let's talk about really quick. Well, actually, let's check our comments real quick. We just got another one. Don't count out Trevin Wallace, which I know has been from strong safety to an outside linebacker due to his weight gain and tackling ability. Yes, Trevin Wallace. That's a great call. I bet Trevin Wallace is one of the players we're talking about throughout the season that really stands out. I would bet him and Alex Safari, really, really impact this team. So we're 3-2. Thank you. So winning record against Florida in the past, in recent years. So that's good. But yes, Trevin Wallace, he was the one that returned the kick against Florida actually last 2 years ago when we played him at home. We beat him 20-13. He was the one that returned that blocked field goal for a touchdown. But yes, Trevin Wallace will be a big player alongside J.J. Weaver, obviously replacing Jacquez Jones, who, ran out of eligibility, went pro, whatever he did. So, yeah, I think Trevin Wallace will be good. I think he'll be a defensive player we're talking about for the next 2 or 3 years. But, yes, Stoops and company and Devin Leary and company and Trevin Wallace and company are gearing up for what is to be a tough season, which we'll go over the schedules here in just a minute. But first, give me just a second here. Let me switch that around. The first thing everybody wants to talk about, announced yesterday, not officially, but by media, is that alcohol will be sold at UK games. If you watched probably my last 3 live streams, a bunch of videos in between, I've been pushing for this. My reasoning. People are drinking anyway. I saw a guy bring a 6-pack of bottles into the stadium. I sat next to him. He gave me one. There's fireball shooters everywhere. Alcohol is finally being sold at Kroger Field. It is official. Mitch Barnhart has set up a press conference this Friday obviously it hasn't been announced, but it will be, I'm assuming at that press conference, that alcohol will be sold. So with that, I think it's only appropriate. Cheers to you guys. I appreciate everybody watching and listening to this, whether it be live right now, whether it be on playback. If you've made it an hour 10 into this, I appreciate you so much. If you're not already, please subscribe. Again, we're close to 1,000 subscribers. Let's just get us over the hump. We're not that far, man. We're 127 people. Just let's get us to 1,000. That would be such a huge milestone. And let's keep growing this channel. Make this channel the biggest platform for Big Blue Nation on YouTube. I know KSR has a big one. I know Locked On Kentucky has a big one. Let's get right up there with those guys. Let's be a real player in this game. The bigger this channel gets, the more we can do, the more content we can produce, the more, in-depth stuff, the more insider stuff we can do. So let's just keep growing this, keep making this a thing. Please, please, please subscribe. It doesn't cost you guys a thing. I don't post that much. I won't bug you. So, I won't bug you that much. Just please subscribe. Alcohol will be sold at Kroger Field. You guys will see vlogs for that this year, by the way. So cheers, and let's keep going. I'm telling you, if you guys haven't tried Monk's Road, I'm surprised by that. The reason I bought it, actually, I grew up on a road in northern Kentucky called Monk Road. So I've always wanted the bottle. I got it a couple months ago, just never opened it till tonight. So, salud. Kentucky wins 8 football games this year. We will get into that in just a second. We're going to go over this year's schedule, next year's schedule, and all that. Give me just a second. So let's talk about the beer sales. I think it's a huge step forward. We might have been the last, if not next to last, SEC team to not allow it. Fans are getting hammered, causing probably more incidents by pre-gaming than by just allowing it. They allowed it at baseball this year, which was a great first step. Everything went smooth. Just in the 4-day super regional, if you guys haven't seen it already, Kentucky sold in 4 days, 7 games, 4 days, $110,000 in alcohol at the baseball games. You got to think that's 4 days. That the biggest crowd they had was under 7,000. So just imagine the revenue at 64,000 people, 7-8 times a year. And definitely a heavier drinking crowd than what went to baseball games. So I think it's a great step forward. I think I was extremely critical of Mitch Barnhart earlier around January. Watch that live stream if you wasn't there. Extremely critical of him in that live stream because of not only alcohol but other things. All of which seem to be that he has came around on and really altered his stance on. So that's great. Kudos to Mitch for recognizing that even though he don't want it, the fans do. It's better for UK. They're going to have Michelob Ultra, Bud Light, and seltzers. I'm assuming Bud Light seltzer. I don't drink seltzer. I don't know what they sold at the baseball games to give you an accurate thing. And they're also going to have a local craft, area, or it's some areas they're going to allow craft beer too from local breweries. I would assume it's Country Boy. I don't know that for a fact. I don't think UK knows that for a fact. There's going to be a bidding war for that. It's probably going to be Country Boy, West 6th. It's almost guaranteed probably be one of those two. There's some other ones, but it's probably those two. I would give the nod to Country Boy. They're a little more popular. They have a few, in my opinion, better options. So I would expect to see Mick Ultra, Bud Light, a seltzer from Anheuser-Busch if it's not Bud Light seltzer, and then probably a Country Boy station or multiple Country Boy stations around Kroger Field. So you guys, I will be doing the vlogs this year with my job. I'm getting married in August. It's going to be hard for me to get off work some Saturdays. My goal is a minimum of 4 games. If I can make it to EKU, Bama, and then 2 SEC games, I'll be ecstatic. If not, well, I'll almost guarantee to be at 4. If I can make more, I will. Each of those I go to, I'm going to be doing the vlogs. I hope you guys enjoy the vlogs. If you don't know what I'm talking about or you're not familiar with them, go back and look at some of the ones from last year and the year before. I enjoy doing them. I hope you guys enjoy watching them. They're never my most high-rated videos, but I think they're definitely the most fun videos I make. So if you guys like the vlogs, you want to see the vlogs, let me know in the comments. But I'm definitely going to be doing them for the games I get to go to. So hopefully I get to go to 5 or 6 or maybe 7. Probably not. Like I said, with the wedding taking up a lot of my PTO, it's hard for me to get to some of them. But I'm definitely going to a lot of the games. But let's just go ahead and talk. But now that we know we're having alcohol, we can talk more about that as season comes near. If you didn't already know, now you know. Big news for Kentucky. And, again, just shout out to Mitch Barnhart, man. I've been critical of that dude on this channel, but for him to come around on NIL and alcohol, that is 2 massive steps. If you listen to KSR today, actually, they talked about, is Mitch the best AD we've ever had? Probably so. Everyone's gotten better. He's altered his own point of view. So you got to give credit where credit's due, even if you criticize him. So shout out to Mitch Barnhart. And, I'm excited to have a beer at Kroger Field for the first time. I've had one at the baseball stadium, but now I'm excited to do it at Kroger Field. And maybe, it saves a few marriages. All right, let's talk about the schedule after we view Leland's comments. Likes Chinese food and the Wildcats. He loves wonton soup and Kentucky football. Hey, not a wonton soup fan, but I do love me some General Tso's. I like some bourbon chicken, orange chicken, sesame chicken, whatever else they got at Chinese restaurants. I'm here for it all. And I do love me some Kentucky Wildcats. So I'm with you, brother. All right, let's talk about the schedule. Oh, wrong one. This upcoming football season, like I said, fine line between great and not so great. We open the schedule, Ball State. Boom. Calling it a win. Calling my shot now. Early prediction, Devin Leary's first game. We're better than them by a bunch. Spread's going to be probably in the 30s. I'm going to take the under. Actually, you know what? I predicted one game dead on since the start of this channel. First game I ever predicted. 100% correct. Gave me some credibility here on YouTube. And I'm going with the same score I predicted then that came out correct. We're going 45-10, UK over Ball State. So we're going to start out the season 1-0, which is amazing. We got another comment. Leland, thumbs up. Yes, sir. Some Chinese food, all for it. Okay. And then, like I said, we get EKU. I think out of our bad teams of Ball State, EKU, and Akron, I think EKU is the best. I think EKU is the best team we're going to play, and I think they're going to give us a game. If you guys remember, I don't remember what year it was, 2014 or 15, 16 maybe. EKU came to UK and gave Kentucky all they could handle. Almost won the game. I think the final score was 28-24. Gave Kentucky an absolute run for their money. So do not count out Walt Wells and EKU. There's always one of these games where Kentucky doesn't show up and a team hangs around longer than they should. I bet you it's EKU this year. Ultimately, I'll be in section 202 with the blue and white cheering on Kentucky. Might put an EKU pin on or something. I like EKU, alumni and all that. But I think we beat EKU. We start the season 2-0. What we got? Let's see. Would you okay with some smoking cigars, vapes, football games? When I was at U of L game, some L's Down fan jokingly asked people if it would be okay if he smoked a cigar. Some looked at him with contempt. I don't care. Man, I love a good cigar. If you told me they sold bourbon at the games, give me a bourbon cigar at a Kentucky game. What is more Kentucky than that? We're outside. We're not in a dome. I mean, I understand the concerns. I don't know if we do, but they should have a family section at the stadium if you don't want to be around it. I completely understand all that. But if you're telling me I could light up a cigar at the game, dude, let's go. I do think the vape thing is a little ridiculous. I actually saw the Blue Coats throw a kid out for a vape. Again, I get it. I get the reasoning behind it. But I just think a vape, it puts off a fruity smell. It doesn't choke you up or nothing. A cigar, I can understand, you get secondhand smoke and all that. Vapes, I don't vape, but, to each their own. I know, is it Tennessee that does the cigars in the stadium? I think we somewhat underestimate UL this year. They got a better coach and recruiting better talent. Yes, we'll talk about that in a second. They do have a better coach, a little bit better talent, but Yeah, to heck with U of L. But yeah, back to the cigars. I would love to have a cigar at the game. That'd be cool. I think Tennessee does it, or maybe it's Alabama. One of the two. Either way, I like the idea. I don't think it'll ever happen here to where it's okay. But I said that about alcohol. I think Mitch, dipped his toe in the water with the alcohol. I don't expect him to dip the toe in the water with the cigars, especially if it is Tennessee that does it. I know it's Tennessee or Alabama. If it's Tennessee, ban all cigars. No cigars in Kroger Field. I'm with you there. We did the checkerboard thing. I hated it. Everybody hated it. Get the checkerboards out of here. That's a Tennessee thing. I don't care about Secretariat. And if the cigars are going to be copying Tennessee too, get them out of here too. I like a cigar. I'll smoke it at my house. But anyway, good comment. I like that comment. That's the stuff that makes this stuff fun. So keep commenting stuff like that. Okay, up next after EKU, we got Akron. We'll beat Akron. Not worried about them. Then we go to Vandy. Now, I don't know if you guys are aware of this. The rule is you have to play within your first 4 games. One of them has to be an SEC opponent. That's normally why we get Florida early, is because one of our first 4 have to be an SEC. Or I think one year it was Mizzou. But either way, this is our 1 of 4 for SEC. This year comes at the end, obviously, with Vanderbilt. Last year was a fluke. I think everybody knows that. I think UK fans will buy out Vandy Stadium again. Vandy always plays us well there for some reason, but I think this year, Devin Leary and company go down there. We put the stomping on Vandy. So we're 4-0 to start the year, played our 3 bad teams, played Vanderbilt. Here we go. We're rocking and rolling, feeling good. We're heading into we're heading into October now. 4-0, undefeated. We'll probably start the season ranked, 20s, 20 to 25. So we're 4-0. 1 or 2 big teams ahead of us will lose. We'll probably be top 20 at that point, 18, 17, 19, something like that. And then we go to Florida, or then Florida comes to us. I love this. Actually, I think Vanderbilt is on the weekend of my birthday, so we might get Florida mid-October. That's great. Let's get Florida. I think it might be October 13th if everything's working out in my head like I think. We beat Florida. Like I said, we're just consistently better than Florida recently. They're going to take a drop after losing Anthony Richardson, who is overrated. And if you don't believe me, go watch my video on the Will Levis draft. So we're starting out 5-0. Now we're mid to late October, and we go to Georgia, where Kentucky takes their first loss. Of course, I would love to say we beat Georgia. We probably have a better quarterback than Georgia. Probably have better receivers than Georgia. Georgia's better than us. So what can you do? You take an L to probably the best team in the country. We're 5-1. Got Mizzou at home. We kick the snot out of. And then we get Tennessee at home. That's a tough one. Are we as good as Tennessee? Yeah. Are we better than Tennessee? Maybe. I don't know. I think is Tennessee going to take a step back from last year? Undoubtedly. Absolutely, 100%. But until we prove we can beat them, I can't pick us. Please. Now, in basketball, I picked Tennessee to beat us twice, and we swept them for the first time since 2015. I believe last football season, if I remember correctly, I picked us to beat Tennessee, and we lost, and maybe even the year before that. So this year, I'm picking Tennessee to win with the hopes that we beat the poop out of them, because this is a family channel and we're on YouTube. Beat the poop out of them. I will be at that game. Speaking of the vlogs, now that I got the schedule in front of me, I will be at, come hell or high water, EKU, Florida, Tennessee, and Bama. At the very least, you're going to get those 4 vlogs. And I hope I can leave yelling at Vol fans. All right. Then we go. So right now we're what? 6-2. We're bowl eligible. We're rolling. We go to Mississippi State for the last time, hopefully for a while. Beat them last year. It's always the home team wins in this. Mike Leach is, rest in peace, Mike Leach. He is passed. I think Mississippi State takes a big step back. If there was ever a year to get them in Starkville, it's this year. It's a 50-50 game. Give me the win here. I don't feel confident. It's at Mississippi State. It's at Starkville. They got the stupid cowbells. I'm taking us to beat Mississippi State. Fine. 7-2. Let's go. Bama, we win. No, I'm just kidding. We lose to Bama. So now we're 7-3. 2 games left at South Carolina, at Louisville. At South Carolina is going to be tough. They still have Spencer Rattler, Beamer. Stupid Shane Beamer. If you like Shane Beamer, subscribe because I need subscribers, but I don't like Shane Beamer. I think we lose to I think we beat South Carolina. We're better than South Carolina. We should beat South Carolina. We beat them there before, and we should do it again. The only reason they beat us last year is because Levis was hurt, and they got a fluke on the first play of the game. 8-3. 8-3 Kentucky, beating South Carolina, and then Louisville, who we just talked about. I'll bring that comment back up on the screen. Yes, we probably do underestimate Louisville after beating them like 157 to like 42 or whatever we beat them the past couple years. We probably do underestimate them this year. Yes, they get talent. Yes, they pay hookers. Oh, my God. But, Jeff Brom is a much better coach than Scott Satterfield. I do think that rivalry gets renewed in a more real way. I just think that, I think it's going to take them a little bit. I think we beat Louisville this year. We finished the season 9-3. I get that that's optimistic. We could beat Tennessee, could go 10-2, I think is our best case scenario. Our worst case scenario, I think it could be a loss to Florida, a loss to Georgia, a loss to Tennessee, a loss to Mississippi State, Bama, and South Carolina. So there's your 5-7. But honestly, I think 8-4 is realistic. I think 9-3, 10-2 is your optimistic version. 5-7 is your pessimistic version. I think 8-4 is a solid, take. Have you ever heard of Uncle Lou, the UGA fan? Yes, I have. He blames us, Alabama and Arkansas, for pushing and convincing other teams to choose 8 conference games. Let's see, and essentially calls us that word. Yeah, that's fine. I used to watch more of Uncle Lou than I do now. I don't watch it as much. I'm all for biased commentary, but he's just goofy, and he calls us, are we the neckbeards? I think we're the neckbeards, Kentucky neckbeards or whatever. I don't know. Not my thing. He also said that we're one of 6 teams Georgia plays and lose by 30+, which hasn't happened since 2015. Yeah, I don't know, dude, whatever. I like Uncle Lou. I think he's entertaining. He's obviously grown a big platform, so, what can I say? He has more subscribers than I do, so good for him, I guess. Seems like a good dude, big Georgia fan. He thinks, Georgia's world beaters or whatever. And he can blame us because Stoops and Barnhart were probably the forefront of making it an 8-game schedule. Of course, he's a Georgia fan. Of course, he wants 9 SEC games. So did Nick Saban, at least for a little bit. He changed his mind on that. But yeah, I don't know, man. I'm for the 8-game schedule. I want to be bowl eligible. I think, honestly, most of the teams, money aside, were for the 8 games just for win-loss purposes. We'll talk about the 2024 schedule in just a second, but I think it plays so much better. I think you give maybe not Vanderbilt and some of the bottom tier teams a good chance, but you give teams like Ole Miss and Kentucky and Tennessee and Florida and Mississippi State and even maybe Missouri and South Carolina and Arkansas. You give that middle tier of teams, you give us a much better chance of having a good season. And good seasons create good revenue, and good revenue creates good players, and good players create good football, and that's what all of this is about. So, yes, Georgia and Alabama and for some reason A&M and some of these other schools, maybe they wanted the 9 games. That's what I got to say to them. Give me the 8 games. I think it gives everyone a chance to be competitive and keep your rivalries while not being just a slaughterhouse to everybody all the time like we saw in 2020. With that 10-game schedule just killed teams. So if Uncle Lou wants to be upset, sorry about you, Uncle Lou. Bring me on your show. I'll make that same case to you. The 3 things I like from him is his Voltard custom, and for Tennessee, calling Napier Sunbelt Billy. I like that. I like that name a lot. Brett, if you're still watching, Sunbelt Billy's a good nickname. And finally, making fun of Bama fans. Yes, I like his commentary. I don't agree with everything he says. I think it's kind of cheesy sometimes, but like I said, he's got a big following, so good for him. But I do like his commentary and how he makes fun of stuff. Yes, the Voltards, wherever you fall on that spectrum, whether you love it or hate it, fine. I understand both arguments there. Like I said, I think we're the neckbeards, and he has, Bama's the Gumps. So that's all fine. I love Sunbelt Billy. I love that. That's funny. I like that. I like his commentary, not so much his show. But good for Uncle Lou. He's built a living doing what he loves, and that's all any of us can ask for. So yeah, like I said, back to our schedule. I think 9-3 is as good as you could hope for. You go 10-2, we're dancing in the streets. 5-7 is everything. The wheels fall off. Devin Leary gets hurt, and we're screwed. And then anything in the middle you got to be happy with because you're bowl eligible. But I think 8-4 is realistic. That gives you your 3 losses: the Georgia, Bama, and Tennessee. And then you throw a random in there, and we're good to go. You pull that one off. We're 9-3. Now we're dancing in the streets again. Now 2024 just came out the other day. Just announced. Not our official schedule, but at least our SEC schedule. One weird thing that's not on your ticker here, we actually are scheduled to travel to Akron to open the season. Did you guys know that? We're traveling to Akron to open the 2024 season against the Zips. Weird. We'll probably buy them out of that game if they allow us to. They might not, but Kentucky might just have enough money to throw at them to say okay. But we're actually scheduled to, if I'm Akron, I'm saying, no, y'all are playing here. Come on. Screw your money, but whatever. We're actually scheduled to travel to Akron. But anyway, let's talk about SEC. Home games: Auburn, Georgia, South Carolina, Vandy. I think you go into 3 of the 4 of those games confident. I think you feel good about Vanderbilt. You should feel good about South Carolina because we're going to beat the piss out of them this year in Columbia. And then Auburn, out of your SEC West teams, it's a toss-up, but I like it. I don't think they're good. I don't think they're the Auburn of old. I don't think Cam Newton ain't walking through that door. So give me Auburn. I'm happy with that. And then, of course, we lose to Georgia. So I think if we can go 3 or 4 at home, we're doing good. I would even honestly take 2-2. Give me 2-2 at home, and I'm happy with that. Away, we have at Texas for the first time. Thought it would be Oklahoma with the Stoops connection, but they're giving us at Texas. I believe it'll be at Florida, at Tennessee, and at Ole Miss. Is that right? Do we have that many away games? Because Vanderbilt, Georgia, and South Carolina. Yeah, well, I guess, yeah. Oh, yeah, I get, well, duh, it says home and away right there. Yeah, so that's our 4 home, 4 away. Again, this is a perk to the 8-game schedule. I don't think it's overly difficult. You throw a 9th SEC team in there, and I think even if it's, Missouri, you have a chance to lose that game. And it probably wouldn't be Missouri. It would probably be a Mississippi State, who you can definitely lose to, or a, whoever you want to throw out there. You can definitely lose to those teams. So I like the way the schedule is now. I think you'll get to go and have every team. You'll get to host and go to every team in the SEC every 4 years. So that's a good model. And then you get to keep more than one rival. So that's always good too. So you got Texas, Florida, Tennessee, and Ole Miss on the road. I wish Ole Miss was coming here, but catch me trying to go to the Grove in 2024 and make a good vlog for you guys. So like I said, I think we beat Auburn, South Carolina, and Vandy. Hopefully we get those 3 at home. Texas is beatable. I really think Texas is beatable. They're not back like they claim every single year. We'll get to beat Arch Manning in Austin. That'd be fun. Florida, we should beat. I think Billy Napier's going to get them better, but he's still, Sunbelt Billy. And then, Tennessee away is always a tough game, probably lose. And Ole Miss is a coin flip. So I think, every single away game is a 50-50 game. We can beat Ole Miss. We have beat Tennessee. We have beat Florida, and we can beat Texas. But all of those can go our way. All of those cannot. Best case scenario, the law of averages, we go 2-2. You couple that with our hopeful 3-1 schedule at home. We're 5-3. We tied the best record in the past 40 years at UK and the SEC. You go 5-3 in the SEC, you can't complain. So it is what it is. Now there's a world where you lose all but 1 game, all but 2 games. You beat Vandy, hopefully, assured. In South Carolina, probably, and then you lose to everybody else. That's a world. There's also a world you go 3-1 and then 3-1 on the road, 6-2, have the best season in the past 70 years. So I'm good with all of it. I'm excited. The way the schedules have turned out. I think it was very even and balanced. So with that, it's hard for me to complain about that schedule, and I'm excited for Oklahoma and Texas to join the SEC. That's my way too early prediction for that year. And with that, guys, thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. Like I said, we are so close to, is it going to show it? There we go. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe right now. Throw any last-second comments in there. If you're watching this on replay, still comment. If you made an hour and a half on replay, still comment. And then, look out for future videos. Please subscribe. We're so close to 1,000 subscribers. Let's just get there before football season. That is my goal. We have 3 months basically to get there. Get there before football season. It'll be so awesome. We'll do a big celebration, probably a big live stream. You might see me have a few more of these. It'll be fun. I might have more than one. I'll have a bottle here. We'll have a celebration. We'll do something special for it. Get to 1,000 subscribers. 100 before the live stream started. We were 127 people away. Subscribe right now. Just stop. Do it now. We'll end the live stream, and I will thank you guys in the next video. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all of you. A video will be out within a week or so. Like I said, these summer videos are a little slower coming out. There's just less to talk about. Stuff happens slower. So 7-10 days. Give me that. I'll see you guys soon. I love you guys. Thank you all for watching. Subscribe, share, tell your friends, and go Cats, guys. Until the next video and the next live stream, stay tight out there. We'll hopefully have some basketball news soon. I'll see you guys later. Go Cats.